Like, hey man, like I love my clients. I want all my clients to win. Like if they win, I win. You know, like if they get a plaque, if they get a gold record today, I get one too. You know what I mean? Like so I really do want everyone to win. Like I need to win for me. Like I was trash at sports really. You know what I mean? Like I was trash at all that. Like I'm good at music, so I don't so like why I'm gonna let it slide? Like
#1 blog in the universe, man. Today I get the special opportunity to sit down with OG Baby. How you doing?
Sad, doing good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you coming all the way to Denver.
Yeah, but thank you for having me, bro. For real, it was fine.
Yeah, no problem. So you were originally from Florida, New Jersey?
Yeah. Originally I was born in Jersey, but I've been in Florida so long, bro. Like I came out here when I was 7, so I consider myself from Florida for real.
Okay.
You know.
But you were born in Jersey and you have like slight memories of...
Yeah. Like I was born in Jersey. I came out here when I was like 7, but like I used to go out here for like I used to go out there for like all the summers. I used to stay at my grandma's house with my aunt and shit like that. I used to stay out there for like the whole summer. You know what I mean? Like so like I definitely have experiences out there, but like you know all like my real life experiences I feel like are in Florida. Like I consider myself a Florida boy.
Okay. So what made your family move from Jersey to Florida?
I think it was just like work and stuff like that. You know, like my aunt and all them had moved out here, and like you know, my mom moved too and stuff. You know, I don't really know. I was just like, hey, this is gonna be fine. I'm going to Disney.
Yeah.
I live far from Disney.
That's in Orlando, right?
Yeah. I'm like 4 hours away from. I'm like 4 hours away from there. So yeah.
I seen studios in Fort Myers. Is that where you spend most of your time?
Yeah. My studio's in Fort Myers, Trackout Studios.
Okay. I looked down the map. That's like almost it seems like in the, I don't want to say the middle of Florida, but just like kind of spread out from like Miami and then Orlando.
Southwest Florida.
Southwest.
Yeah. It's cool though. Like Fort Myers is like it's fine because you're 2 hours from Miami, you're 4 hours from Orlando, you're 2 hours from Tampa, like an hour and a half from St. Peter. So you could really like move. I think it's like 3 hours to Daytona. They're really not far from much. Like it's just like a quick like you hop in the car and drive. Like you know. So like that's why I like it there. Like
what's Fort Myers like as far as like the city? Is it pretty similar to like Miami or any of those, or is it less smaller?
It's a growing city. You know, like it's a growing city. When I first came out here, like when I first got here, it was nothing but like fields and cows. But then like after like you know like as I've grown up, like we have a lot more colleges now. Like and the city's building, they're always adding new stuff. So you know.
What's the like closest big college to?
Closest big college?
Like UCF maybe, USF or something?
Shit, I mean, I guess Miami, because that's what, like 2 hours away. USF is Orlando, right? Or something like that? Right?
It's South Florida, that's all. Probably could be.
I don't know. I don't know.
But Miami's like the closest big city.
Yeah.
Is Fort Myers considered kind of like a suburb of Miami? Or is it a little further out?
Nah, it's further out, because you got to go past the Alligator Alley. Like, it's like this straight line of just nothing. There's like no gas stations. I think it's like one gas station like right in the middle. So yeah.
Alligator Alley?
Yeah.
That sounds crazy.
Yeah.
What's the story behind that? Like,
yeah, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure when you're out there, there's like all like the Indian reserves and stuff like that, or the Native American reserves and things like that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah. When you're out there, it's just that and just swamp, like just swamplands, like you know, like you might see a gator in the middle of the road, like.
That's wild. Yeah. I've never seen a wild gator. I've seen them in like.
Yeah.
But do you see gators a lot? I know I'm getting kind of random.
Yeah. Man, I feel like I've been seeing gators enough. Like, I feel like in any body of water, you're bound to see a gator. Like, yeah.
So you can't just go swimming in a lake or anything?
I wouldn't. Yeah.
If you'd be out here, be swimming in a lake.
Yeah, I'm not like a country boy though. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really like getting dirty like that. Like, so like,
more of a city dude.
Yeah. I'm not jumping in the lake regardless. Especially not in no gators.
Yeah. Okay, so. What was life like growing up in Florida? What were you into as far as like hobbies and stuff like that?
Man, you know, it was really cool. Man, you know, Florida's a lot of sports. So like, you know, everybody like, you know, I played soccer, played basketball, like, you know, I did martial arts and stuff like that. Like, but you know, Florida's like really like football and just, I don't know, it's just, yeah, it was just like a lot of sports as a kid, and then, you know, as you get older, you get into the degenerate type of stuff, like, you know.
Yeah, Florida's always known for football, I feel like.
Yeah, so football and like MMA type. Like you gonna find you gonna find good people from Florida for that.
Oh yeah, okay. So, what position were you playing in football?
Shit, when I played football, I was playing like linebacker, but I was trash though. I was bad. I was bad. I was bad, bro. But like, you know, I was just doing it because like, you know, like all my friends was doing it and stuff like that. So like, I just wanted to hang out and do stuff, you know. Like,
was that like middle school, high school?
I was like high school. That was like high school for like the first 2 years of high school. I did that, and then so you know I was bad, and I was like, man, I want to go hang out with girls and go party.
Right.
I was like, fuck that. I was like, I ain't trying to do that sports stuff no way.
I feel like a lot of people go through that with high school and shit.
Yeah, especially when you know, like I was always like mad realistic. Like
right.
I never thought I was going to college. I never thought I was, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So when were you always listening to music growing up too, I'm assuming?
Yeah. I feel like I came out the womb like listening to music. Like all of my earliest memories is me like in the house with my people like listening to music or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Either that or like some video game stuff. You know, like I'm a nerd. Like.
As far as music goes, who were you listening to growing up?
You know, my people are like really from up north. So like. I was listening, you know, the Nas's, the Biggies,
okay.
you know, all that stuff, you know, the J's. But also they had me listening to that old ass, like, you know, Grandmaster Flash, and like, you know, Public Enemy, and you know what I mean. So like, like I really came up like on hip hop, you know what I mean, like. Yeah.
And you think a lot of that was because you're originally from Jersey?
Yeah. You know what it was, my dad was like he was a b-boy, you know, so like he used to break dance back in the day, like, you know, like in New York and stuff like that. So like they were like from the culture. So I feel like, you know, when I came in the picture, it was just all that, you know. Yeah, it was like that, but also too, like my dad listened to like a lot of rock and stuff like that. Like so, like I got a lot of like, you know, like I love rock music and like alternative, like EDM and stuff like that. So.
Okay, hell yeah. What was the people around you down in Florida kind of listening to the same sort of music too? It's like the South, but it's like East Coast too. Yeah, you know now. Or is a lot of Atlanta and stuff too because it is the South.
Yeah, I feel like at the time it was very separated. You know, you know, I used to have my cousins send me music that was playing up there because, you know, like you know. I'm like right in the middle, like age-wise, where it's like I had the internet and I didn't, you know. But like at the time, the radio was still kind of like regional.
Yeah.
So like you know, up north they could play more up north stuff. Down south they could play more down south stuff. You know. So I would have to have my cousins send me music or their playlists, or you know, when I would see them, I'd be like, bro, give me your iPod. And like I'm just going through it. I'm stealing songs. You know.
Yeah.
You know how I go. Like.
So were you into like the LimeWire, MP3?
Hell yeah.
All the sit down here? Okay.
Hell yeah, LimeWire, all that, man. I used to love that.
That was like my introduction to like music. Just like recording the phone, the music for like when people call you like the voicemail and all that stuff like that.
Yeah, yo, one time I fried my pop's computer with LimeWire stuff. Like,
oh, really?
Yo, and he had like 4,000 songs, like, you know, all these different genres. Like, he was working on his playlist forever. He was getting my people to send him CDs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I fried that computer. He came home from work with it. He was hot.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and like, I did it like on some dumb stuff too. Like I think I was trying to download like a South Park video or something, something like that. Like,
remember jailbreaking?
Put it on my MySpace.
You remember jailbreaking like iPod?
Yeah. That's my time. You know, like, I was better good at that, but I had a cousin. He stayed like 7 houses down from me, so like you know, that's like my brother. You know what I mean? Like we hung out like every day, and he was good at that. So I was just bringing him like anything. I'd be like, bro, you gotta, you know, he was a computer guy, like.
No, that brings back memories, man. it's just crazy how much it's changed. Like now it's like all easy to access, just streaming, right? But back then it was like, man, it was only that was only.
Yeah, I feel like
20 years ago, if that.
you know what I mean, and I feel like that leads to places like not having their own identity sometimes, but because the music is so like. So you'll have someone from Cali sound like they're from Atlanta. You have someone from Atlanta sound like they're from New York or whatever. So I feel like you know I feel like that's what the internet does. What?
So like back then you couldn't do that as much. Like,
Yeah. Like back then it was like you pretty much sound like where you're from. Like that's like you know.
And that's crazy. That's crazy thing about, especially in Colorado, because as a blog out here, I'll be seeing all the artists out here like sound like everywhere else. Like,
yeah,
I'm like, bro, like, or like some people try every different sound, which I mean, to each their own. But I'm like, just sound like you're from Colorado.
Yeah.
I don't know,
I don't know too many Colorado artists, and maybe I'm just being, maybe I'm just ignorant to it. But like, I don't like, I know,
No, we got a lot of work to do. I mean, when you're tapped in and you start getting to know people, you see
start
it.
to figure it, yeah.
But like, as far as mainstream, like, hip hop, like, we got like Old Man Saxon and Jacob Campbell, they were on Rhythm and Flow. Like, we had moments. We had some rappers that are like big in like the Latin hip hop scene. There's a big Latin scene. So I don't know, Lil Travia, so rest in peace, or like Lil Nate. But then, you gotta really be in.
They gotta be tapped into the scene, yeah.
But we had like AP Trevor's got signed to Cash Money at one time. So like, there's been moments, but no one's really like mainstream, bro.
Yeah. I think we got like 2 to 3, or like we got like 3, like right now. But prior to that,
as far as Fort Myers, or
as far as the 239, because one of them I think is Naples, so it's like still 239. That's not that far from us, but it's Naples. Right?
I feel like my grandpa used to visit Naples. Is Naples like a pretty nice?
Yeah. Naples is where.
Does it have? It probably has like a. Does it have like a good part of it too, though? Or?
Yeah, for sure, man. Like like everywhere does, but like for the most part, like Naples is nice. Like,
it's known as like a pretty nice.
Yeah.
What about who is from Fort Myers that's like popping in?
Shit, you got.
Or 239.
Shit, you got C Stunner. So he's the one who's like on the come up right now. Like he's doing it right now. But I would say he's the biggest artist that's bubbling at the moment.
Okay.
But then you got like a Don Fight. He's from Naples. And then was on Euphoria and stuff like that. Like a Beatle picked him to be on his album or whatever, So like that boy is big, he's already like established and out of here. So that's why, you know what I mean? Like, but like on the coming right now, he's done. And then Plies, we have Plies from there.
Plies?
Yeah.
That sounds familiar. I know Plies.
Yeah.
Okay. See, that's dope. Yeah, because I know Miami's huge in like Orlando, Tampa, like Jacksonville. I know some rappers from all there. All those cities.
Yeah. Artists doing it big right now. Like everywhere.
No, for sure. Okay, so when did you end up graduating high school, or did you stop high school?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna drop out. I dropped out, but I ended up getting my GED just so I could go to engineering school.
Yeah.
But like I dropped out like that. That's cool stuff. Nah, I couldn't do it. I messed off so much that it was like my senior year, and I was technically still like a sophomore.
Yeah.
Like I was missing because I was like skipping school every day and stuff like that. So I was like, nah, not that school stuff. And then I was doing like some credit retrieval school, like on the computer type deal where like you could like speed it up or whatever the process.
Right.
But then I was still messing up. My mom was like, yo man, are you taking that serious? She's like, you might as well just drop out, go ahead and get your GED. She's like, and go to school for music. She's like, that's what you want to do.
That's dope that she was like.
Yeah. She's like, you're wasting time.
A lot of parents would be like, of course it's long to go to school, but like they'll press you a little harder, you know what I'm saying? So that she kind of lets you, do what you want.
Yeah, I think this is more being realistic. Like, yo, I both sell. Like you obviously don't want to do this. So it's like, I feel it.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. So that's when would you say was the moment that sparked your interest in like taking music serious?
Man, I know it kind of sounds funny, but I was drunk at a party, right? I know it kind of right, right. Like it was like high school time, right? And they cut off the beat, whatever. We had like a little speaker, right? And we were all outside, just smoking and drinking, whatever. And we were all just like freestyling,
Yeah.
But I remember everybody, like, I left there that day, everyone was like, man, bro, like, you don't rap, bro? Like, you gotta start recording this. And I was like, nah, I don't really, like, because I used to just, like, it was more just like a pastime, like, man, I get with the homeboys, we roll up. I have homeboys who would make beats, so they would just make beats and we freestyle. It wasn't like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was like, bro, like, you gotta do this, you gotta do it. And I was like, shit, you know what, I might.
Right.
And then, yeah. Ever since then, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it, like.
So you feel like your friends kind of believing in you helped you like take yourself serious?
Yeah. And that too, it was like strangers too. It was like, I was just, it was like strangers, but also people I knew.
Like acquaintances?
Yeah, because I might not have taken it serious if it was just my friends, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, man, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, what's your homeboys? It's like, man, I see you every day, like, I don't know if you just gassing me or like, like, I don't know if you just gassing me up, like.
I feel that.
But like, some of those people like had no reason to gas me up. They wanted to be like, yo, you trash, dog, get out of here. Like, could have easily said that. Like, so I was like, you know what, maybe there's something there.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So what kind of happened from there that like was it like a slow process of like, you slowly started to get into music and like recording and stuff, or was it kind of like from the jump you feel like, okay, I'll take this?
Yeah. It was like a slower process. It was I had a homeboy. His name was Cam. He came through to my house one day. He had a Scarlett interface, the red microphone. It was like the whole set. You know what I mean? He came through with that, and I had a girlfriend at the time, and she had a laptop. So I was just like, he's like, I got this from so and so. He had something going on, whatever. So he brought it through. I took my girl's laptop because like I kind of used to record when I was legit like in GarageBand. So I was like, I loaded up GarageBand like it was nothing serious.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I loaded that up and then I started recording here and there, and I was like, man, I don't know if this is really for me. And he's like, nah, we're just like stick with it, So we stuck with it, and then shit, just off that little setup and my girlfriend's laptop, it was just like.
She supported your music endeavors.
I mean, shit. I guess at the time, like you know what I mean, like it was cool. I'm not with that girl no more, but yeah.
You ain't trying to talk about that too much.
I mean, I don't really care, and man, shout out to you. But like, nah, it's just yeah, like.
Is it motivating? Like going through that?
What would you be like?
Like just, I guess, a breakup or?
I mean, yeah. You know what? Like, I wouldn't say it was motivating, but I don't think I would have been doing this had I stayed in that. You know what I mean? Like, I might have just been complacent. Like, I feel like after that, I was like, I got no ties. Like,
well, I know we were talking about like how you started making music and taking it serious. I was looking at your YouTube, and you've been very consistent over the last year.
For sure.
Is that like when you'd say you started making music, or when did it start for you?
I've been making music since like 2015.
Okay.
Because like that's around the time I graduated and stuff like that, or supposed to.
Yeah.
I would have been like my graduating year, but like
from high school.
Yeah. So like 2015 was like when I like 2015 is when I was like, I was going through it because like I was still with that shorty at the time, so I still had access to the laptop. So like I was just really just getting my reps in, just in my closet, just getting my reps in.
Were you like recording too, or were you mostly like engineering? Or
I was always just recording myself. I was recording myself as an artist because like I only started engineering because I was spending so much money on studio time. So like it was always to be the one for the group. Like I had I have a group of friends, where we just all like work together. We called the Dead Link Clique, right? That was like our group. We had like a bunch of different artists in there, and we were all just spending hella money on studio time, and it was just like, how can we cut this out? And I was like, yo, I'm gonna go to school, like, you know what I mean? Like that was part of like, Like, you know, like I was already recording us like on my own without school. Then my mom's was like, yo, you should just go that, because she's like, that's what you're doing already. So I was like, all right, this makes like, it's all like, you know what I mean? It was all just coming together. But like really I did it for myself. Like I didn't really try to do it to like be an engineer. Like it was also too, cause I seen how much I was paying bro, and I was like, damn, like I could do music all the time without having to like, you know, like I was a busboy. So it was like, man, how can I not be a busboy? Like, you know, so I could really do music all the time without having to like work nothing else. Like,
What school did you go to for music?
it was just a 6-month program.
Okay.
It was a studio in Fort Myers. It was called Vibe, the Vibe Recording, right? They're not there no more, but shout out to them. They had like a program. It was 6 months. You go in, they pretty much get you to the point of your certification, so you can, from there, if you wanted to take the test, you can, but they give you like, you know, a little thing that said you did it, you know? But really it was good for the lingo. Like it was good for the lingo and just learning how to like maneuver in the program. Like, you know, being good at mixing doesn't come until you like mix. You know what I mean?
You gotta do it.
Yeah. Like you have to do it. No matter how much school you have. Like if you don't use it, like it's gonna be trash.
Right.
Like,
Mixing is, I've never tried it, but it looks like rocket science. Different.
I feel like yeah at first, but I feel like it's the same vibe as like editing a video or something like that. You know, like I see someone editing a video, I'm like, yeah, that look crazy. But like when you sit down, like if you use a program, you could probably figure out how to use a program. Like you know, like I edited a few videos like myself, like nothing like too crazy. There's one on my YouTube, was called Adrenaline. Me and my homeboy Pizzo, we sat down and like edited that like on the phone and stuff. But like if you use one program, it's like, you know, it all kind of translates. You know what I mean? So.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and mixing, there is a lot of things that's like basic, like standard, you know, like for male vocal, you roll off 85, female a little more, like whatever, you know what I mean? So there's always things that kind of keep you in the guideline, like very formulaic. But to get nice at mixing, like you got to just have that brain, like you got to be one of those guys who, you know, like you got to hear it, like.
Right. Oh, that's real. Okay. Now, as far as the music itself, what in the past year happened that made you so consistent? Because when I look at your YouTube, it was like the oldest video was like 10 months ago, and then it was just a whole bunch of videos since then, which is dope. So what like inspired or motivated, or what was like behind this plan that you've had?
Yeah. You know, I'm 27 right now. I feel like I gotta go all in or nothing, you know?
Right.
A lot of times, like, I put myself on the back burner, you know? When I went and moved to Miami, like, I put myself on the back burner to, like, really get good at engineering and to work and be in them studios and be in them rooms, you know? Like, I put myself on the back burner to record for everybody else all the time. I never put myself first, you know? And then I was just like, you know what, bro? Like, if I want to do this, like, I got to put myself first, like, and really just, so, like, that's what I'm doing, like. You know, like that's pretty much all it was, you know, like I was starting the business, you know, like I have a Tryout Studios. So it was like, you know, for the first 3 years, you're not really making much.
Right.
You're paying off the gear, like, we're still, you know what I mean? Like, we're still growing, you know what I mean? So I was
You ain't making nothing at first when you started business.
Yeah, you know, so it was really like, I'm doing the business, you know, so it was like I had to give the business all my attention. You know, now I got a bunch of engineers. I got Steve, Pizzo, I got Brian. You know what I mean? Like I got a bunch of people there. You know. Then now like I've been able to kind of like foot off the gas a little bit there and kind of transition and switch lanes. You know. So the boys have made it like real easy for me to like do what I need to do. And you know, like I still take my sessions, but like, you know,
you're more focused on this.
Yeah. I got time. Like I got a little more time now. You know.
How were you able to get that process going of like transitioning from doing the sessions yourself, creating the studio, getting the gear going, all that, to like handing over the keys to other people and like trusting them and like just being able to transition into not being so hands-on and stuff? Because I'm curious, because like I'm in that phase and I'm just like, it's kind of hard, bro, like getting to that, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just curious how you do it.
You know, one, it comes with a lot of like, you know, a lot of extra time. So like, even though I don't have sessions, like I got to stay there with them and
teach them.
Yeah, you know, I'm teaching them, or I'm like, yo, come sit in with me, like watch me mix, ask me questions at the end, so it was that. But really, man, I'm not gonna front. Like, I kind of threw my boy just in the water, like,
Right.
I was like, cause like, it's a time thing, everybody got stuff that they need to get paid for, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it was like, I was just like, all right, bro, like, if this is how we gonna do it, like, he had like a special rate, that was like way cheaper than the actual studio rate, but we worked it out. So it was like, you know what I mean?
Right.
We worked it out to where it was gonna, to where it would work, and he really just started to build his own clientele. Like, yeah, we have some people that like meshed and came in between, like, like I'm able to, like alley-oop him some stuff, but really like, he built his own thing. And, the main thing about the engineering is like, I can only bring you so far. Like you have to do it yourself.
Right.
But to feel comfortable, like me being comfortable enough to do it, it was because bro did it on his own. Like he was spending hours in there, like, you know what I mean? Like overnight, like, you know what I mean?
Like you could tell he had it in him type shit.
Yeah, it was just like, it wasn't hard, you know what I mean? Like he was getting it quick. It was like what some people could learn in 6 months, he did it in 3 because he put in a double amount of time, you know what I mean? So it was like, just seeing his drive and stuff like that was like, all right, like you got that. And then same with, all the engineers who do it, like they pretty much got the same story, you know what I mean? Like,
because I see it.
It's in them. Like it's in them. It's not nothing I can really bring out of you. It's like if you a hustler, like you gonna do it. Like it's just
if you love it.
Yeah, like you know what I mean? Like
because I see studios around Denver and like I be seeing the homies like good at that. Like they're good at bringing in engineers and like, of course some leave and that's what happens, but like it just seems like with the studio, like once you get it built up, like it's, I don't know. I guess I have a hard time as a blogger because I feel like it's like I'm trying to train people how to do posts or like editing's different. I just pay you edit, cool.
Yeah.
But like training people how to do like promo and like, I don't know. It's like hard because there's no like blueprint as much, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. There's like no blueprint, but there is, because there's like a way that you like to see it done. There's a way that you like to write it out. Like, like you do your spacing a certain way. Like it just looks nice. Like,
right. But then when someone else does it, I'm like trying to teach it, but then they have their own little ways, and I'm like,
I get it. Like it's the same thing with the engineering, because like, like okay, like everybody in the studio, they all started off with my template. So the bass sound is the bass sound. Like the bass sound is still my sound. Right. But they, they've gone off and turned it into their own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's, so it's like, it's like, at first it was hard. It's like, oh, you're not doing it. Like, you got to do it. Like, but it's like, nah, you got to let them rock and make their own, like, their own identity. Because otherwise, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to grow. So
I feel that. You definitely got to learn. You learn to just, like, understand that it's not going to be exactly what you do.
Yeah. But, in a way, like, we got, like, bro's been doing this like a year and a half, right? I've been doing this since like 2015, 2018, I think is when I actually went to school. But 2015 is when I started like engineering, But like, he's been doing this like a year and a half. He's got people who only want to record with him, who used to record with me, and that's fine. But that's just because he got, he got his own swag. He got something that he does that's fire, you know what I mean? So it's like.
So what programs have you used over the years?
Started off in Logic.
Okay.
Well, GarageBand Logic. Then FL.
That was on the laptop?
Yeah. That was on the laptop, GarageBand and Logic. And then I had bought a laptop from like QVC. Like I was doing like a bunch of payments on it and stuff like that. I got a laptop there, a microphone, a bunch of stuff like that. And then on there, I started with like FL and Pro Tools, because then around that time was when I started going to school. Because, I make beats too and stuff. So like, FL I was using for beats, my Pro Tools I was using for vocals. But then eventually I fell back from FL and I use Ableton and Pro Tools now. That's what I'm on.
Have you like worked with some major clients when it comes to the beats and stuff like that?
Yeah, but nothing out like it's weird because it's like, I don't work with a lot of people. I work with a lot of people, but a lot of those songs don't come out or whatever it is, the label, or so it's like I don't claim them because they're not out.
Right.
You know what I mean? If they out, I claim it. But it's like if it never came out, like I don't know. It just feels a little phony to me. Like,
Right. I feel
you know, I have people like, oh, I got this placement. I was like, oh shit, I look it up. It was like, well, where it's at though.
Yeah, I can't.
It's like,
I
yeah,
hate when a producer does that. They'll be like, "Oh, I got all these placements, like with major artists," and
you
it's
know,
like,
they're not out though.
where can I? Yeah,
You know, like I got a call one time. Like this was probably like the biggest one, and you know, like it never came out. They never used it. You know, so whatever. Like I got a call. It was like 3 a.m. My homeboy called me. Yo, bro, Roddy Ricch just got on our shit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god. I was like, let's go. I was like, let's go. Like,
Right.
man, I was lit. But you know, man, nothing ever happened.
yeah,
so it's like,
yeah.
you know, whatever. It's just a phone, and I never got an MP3, never got a bounce. So it's like,
It's-
it's non-existent to me.
Lesson
You know what I
learned,
mean?
yeah.
Like.
Did you? Because I seen you had Wiz Having and Lil Tyler in the studio.
Yeah.
Were you just like engineering for them, or was someone else engineering?
Yeah, that's like engineering. One of our producers at the studio, Steve, he ended up getting a placement with Wiz through one of our homeboys. It was like a feature type deal, you know what I mean? But that was cool. You know.
Hell yeah.
That's yeah. It's like.
How did the studio come together? What was that process like? And
Yeah.
you know,
Well, all right. So I was working at Circle House. I was in Miami. Everything was going. Then boom, the COVID hit.
yeah,
Right. So like, you know, my lease was up, but no one really wanted to show houses, you know, because you know,
COVID,
yeah, you know, so no one really wanted to show houses. And then both of my roommates, at the time, I had 2 roommates. They had girls, so they went to go move in with their girls. So now I was just there. I was like, bro, I guess I gotta go back home. Like I got nowhere to go. You know what I mean?
right.
So I came back home. Then my mom's was like, I was looking at apartments still in Miami because I wanted to get back because like, man, like being where I was, like you don't know who you're gonna run into, you know. And granted, you know, at the time I was just grabbing waters and snacks and whatever, you know, like I was a runner, you know what I mean. But you don't know who you're gonna run into and you don't know who's gonna change your life, you know what I mean? Because like we done seen it happen, like we done seen people there like every day, like they get picked up by so and so. So and so's like, hey, you're engineering for me now, you know. And it happens off like the engineer gets sick or whatever, like a car accident, you know, and they can't make it in, or you know what I mean. Like it's like, all right, well, they need somebody. It's like you're up. It's like now or never. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I really wanted to get back to that. Like you know, I was like, bro, I'm getting back there. But you know, it's funny because a lot of a lot of what I do, like you know, my mom was like, you know, a big driver, but she was like, she's like, start your own business. She's like, you want to be a runner forever? I was like, nah,
When you say runner, like almost like DoorDash type shit, or am I?
All right, so the studio, they had like an intern car. I started off
Okay.
interning. So I started off like, go get the backwoods, go get the bottles, go get me food, go clean this
must
floor.
have been a major studio then, huh?
It was.
Like where labels and.
Exactly. So, you know, I wanted to get, you know, so I worked my way up from there, and then I was assisting. So as an assistant, you're just in the room, you know, so you're in the room and it's like, all right, you're just there to make sure like anything goes wrong. If they want to hook up an aux cord, you know how the gear's hooked up, so you hook up an aux cord and you just go sit in the corner and just be quiet. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like you know, I worked there from runner to being an assistant. I had engineered a few sessions, so I was working my way up, and then boom, all that shit happened. So it was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? But then you know, like I said, I came back and my mom was like you want to be a runner forever? I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. You know, so. You know, she pretty much gave me, you know, like I always had a vision of what my studio wanted. You know, I used to sit down with the co-owner of because there is a co-owner to the studio. His name is Ray. You know, like that's my dog. You know, so we used to sit down all the time. You know, he's really where I was like building a lot of my sound with. So we used to just sit down and just dream sometimes, just talk about like, you know, we finna have a studio with these speakers. We finna do this and that. We gonna get these placements, like, you know. So we came together and, you know, like we just made it happen. Like,
That's fire. Hell yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Now, when it comes to that time period, was it kind of like, oh, we're going to go buy the equipment and then just like word of mouth, you start working with clients and stuff like that? Or how was that process of like really building out the studio and stuff like after all of the, you know, move back to Fort
Yeah.
Fort
So
Myers?
after I came back, you know, I was still recording at the crib and whatnot. But then, you know, it was funny because we weren't even gonna get the spot that we were going to. You know, it was like we were just looking, like we were just driving around, just looking for spaces. You know, just like,
Right.
you know, oh, I wonder about this. You know, I used to work at this T-shirt shop, right? Then it was down some service road with, you know, like a bunch of those, like, you know, a warehouse type work spots. I was like, bro, we should go back there and just look in that general area and see what's there. You know, I was like, cause something like this is ducked off. So he's like, all right, cool. So we went back there, we started looking. The landlord was already out there. She was out there. She's like, I'll show you right now.
Yeah.
She brought us in there. She told us everything. You know, it's funny because, you know, like we didn't even bring it up. But she was like, and I don't care if you guys smoke weed. So I was like, all right, cool. But like, that was good for us because like we needed to know, like,
Right.
you know,
So the studio, like a lot of your clients and music.
I don't want to go to no studio I can't smoke at.
Right.
So I don't expect nobody to come to my studio if you can't smoke there.
No, that's some real stuff too. 'Cause that'd be an issue, bro. For like, I'll be trying to book studios with some rappers, like, especially like high profile ones. They'd be like, nah, like, we need to smoke.
Yeah, and that's the vibe that like we was going for. Like we wanted it to be like high profile. Like we don't like if we was trying to be like, I wanted to bring like one of those Miami studios to Fort Myers. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like how can we do that? Like an Atlanta studio, you know, I've been in Patchwork, I've been in a few, you know. Like how can we bring that here? Like,
And so that's probably where the idea or like the demand like kind of sparked in the head a lot, where it's like, boom, like this has to work.
yeah.
Does Fort Myers have a lot of studios?
There's a few out there.
There's few.
Yeah.
But it's like y'all wanted to bring
but
like
at
a
the
different
time-
level to it.
Yeah. At the time, I feel like after we popped up, I feel like a lot of other studios started to pop up,
Okay.
and that's cool. You know, like it's enough money out here for everybody. Like I don't compete with nobody but myself. You know, but like, yeah, I feel like at the time it was just like, it was like some of the classic studios that had been there, and then like I said, like, you know, I had went to the Vibe. The Vibe had shut down. Like a few of them were starting to shut. It was like, oh, there's like a need right now, like, you know, and especially for something like this, because like, yeah.
It's crazy, man. Studios be in demand, like even today, like,
Yeah.
because I was kind of calling around and stuff. I was like, damn, like,
Yeah, and there's a crazy scene in Fort Myers. There's like a lot. There's like a bunch of different scenes. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of weird. Like, it's like you got the city, then you got like the artsy kids, then you got like, you know, like everybody's got their own thing, but it's still like
Yeah.
239. But I feel like we managed to branch out. I feel like I got my hand in kind of like every scene. Like,
hell yeah. Okay. Getting into your music, because I know you said like your hands are kind of in every genre, would you say?
yeah.
What I noticed about your music was it's hard to put a word, like a thumb on, like, oh, this is this type of music, you know, because obviously there's hip hop influence, but it's like there's also this EDM, like, for lack of better terms, I feel like there's probably better house music almost in a way, like.
No, I love house music. I love EDM. You know, so like there's definitely, you know, like in my music. Like,
What kind of inspired your sound and like inspired you to, I know you said, okay, I'm 27, like time to let this go. Like, but I feel like what's unique about you is most people would, in that case, be like, oh, I'm building the studio bigger, or I'm going to go build another studio, or I'm going to go into another business. But you took no, I'm going to focus on me and my music. What like motivated you to do that instead of like taking like a different route, I guess?
you know, it's like, for me, I'd rather like, I won't be fulfilled unless I could do it for myself. You know, like, it's, and you know, like everything you do, like you always have a boss. Like I don't care what no one tells you. Like even if you work for yourself, like, cause I work for myself, but it's like every new client I have, it's like you have a different boss every 2 hours, cause you're there to work for them. You know what I mean? But like, you know, so I know, you know, like even with the music, you got the labels, you got executives, like you still got bosses you got to answer to. But like, I don't know, I couldn't live with myself. I didn't do it for me.
Like you feel like you had to at least give it a shot. You didn't want to look back and be like, damn, like.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't look back and be like, damn, I just let that shit go. Like, I let it all go, and for what? Like, to record other people, to give them their shot? Like, hey man, like, I love my clients. I want all my clients to win. Like, if they win, I win. You know, like,
Right.
If they get a plaque, if they get a gold record today, I get one too. You know what I mean? Like, so I really do want everyone to win. But like, you know, like I need to win for me. Like, you know, it's like I said, like I was I was trash at sports, really. You know what I mean? Like I was trash at all that. Like I'm good at music, so why I'm gonna let it slide? Like, you know, like I don't know. That's just how I look at it.
Is it hard to like? Because music's hard, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like engineering and the studio stuff. I mean, that stuff's hard too. But like, I feel like the thing about actually making the music is like the beginning stages is hard because it's a lot of money invested and it's hard to really get big. But it's like once you get big, like that's probably the best. Like you're gonna be making the most money. I feel like.
Yeah.
So does it get hard for you to take it serious, or were you ever like second guessing it? I guess like during this process, as far as like when you started like dropping your own music and taking it serious.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's like you say, like it's expensive, you know. So like once you start doing the math, you know, it's like damn, you know, if I only engineered and I wasn't spending on videos and this and that, or you know, the photo shoots or whatever comes with it, like you know, the trip, like you know, all you know, like everything. I was like, I'll be banking.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like damn, but it's like man, I can't like. You know,
you got a passion for it.
Yeah.
That's dope. I see that.
I just, you know, but like, I don't know. It's also easy at the same time. Like, you know, it's easy because I've always been the kid to just do whatever I want. Like, you know, like if I didn't feel like going to school, I'm not going to school. If I didn't feel like doing this or that, I'm not doing that or this. You know what I mean? Like, I've always done what I wanted. Like, so I just feel like let's just do what I want. Like, even like when I make music, like, you know, it's like you said, like I don't necessarily like sound like one thing, but that's just because I just make music I want to hear. Like, I just trust that I have good taste in music. You know, it's like, well, I like this, I like that. Like, shit, man, like, I could probably make something like that. You know, and I go in the studio tonight and try to make that. You know, if I hear a song that's like, I don't want to say like I go in and try to compare, like, I'm like, yo, like, that style's not far from my range.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm gonna go try that. You know what I mean? Like, and I could do that.
That's dope.
So that's, you know.
Hell yeah. So yeah, back to the sound. So with the EDM and the house music and stuff like that, like what artists, I know you mentioned earlier like who you influenced growing up, but like what influenced your current sound and like made you want to go with, I guess, the more party sound and stuff like that?
Yeah. You know, honestly, probably, man, I'd say like Wiz, like Wiz Khalifa, like he's like my all-time favorite artist.
Oh,
like, yeah, like I don't care what nobody say. Like I might not really bump him too much anymore, but that's because like I had a phase where like that was like Wiz, Currency, like all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But really, I say Wiz because
if you didn't have a Wiz phase, like you weren't really
you know what I mean, just being a badass shit, partying, like. But like that was the main thing, right? It was like, you know, watching somebody like him. Right, he'll go to some boom bap stuff, then he could do some trap stuff, then he's gonna do some auto tune, then he's gonna get on some Empire of the Sun type stuff. You know what I mean?
He'll hop on some like hard beats, like some really
you know, like so like that's why I say like he's probably like my biggest influence. Like watching him do everything made me believe I could do everything. You know,
that's dope.
Just like you know what, man, I'll try that too. Like, so.
And what I liked about Wiz too is it wasn't like he had his weed smoking songs and so whatever, but like it wasn't like straight. There's a time and place for drill music, but like it wasn't like you could listen to it kind of everywhere. You know, it was chill, like it was good vibes.
You know, it was just like fly shit, like just you know, like like it's just not, you know, it's not always time for drill. Like I love drill music, you know, especially at the time, like a Chief Keef was just coming up, Dirk, all that, you know, Chicago was going crazy. Right. So it was like, man, like I love that too, you know,
especially in like
the Migos were popping, and I know they're not drill, they're more trap, they're more you know, but like
the gangster rap.
Yeah, but like you know, all that is, you know, influence, but really like I would say that like.
Hell yeah. Okay.
That, and then as far as like the different genres, I could probably say like Depeche Mode. I love Depeche Mode. Interpol. Interpol's crazy. These are more like kind of like rock groups, I'd say. I mean, I wouldn't say like rock, but you know, if you want to get into the specifics, that's on you. You know, I'm not like some super guru where like, oh, this is heavy metal, this is shoegaze. Like, man, it's all rock to me. Like, sorry, dog. Like,
no,
you know,
I feel you. Because there's like metal, there's like screamo, there's fucking
You know what I mean? And like I'll know the difference. You know, like I know they got the Midwest stuff, the Midwest, you know, like whatever. Like, you know, like I know they have the differences, but like, you know, when I talk, I'm gonna just say rock and alternative. You know,
it's just like hip hop. There's so many genres of hip hop, but like,
you know,
unless you're really into it, you're gonna categorize it as like
exactly. And then, you know, some of the EDM stuff, like the Jungle Brothers, the Dead Mouse, the
Dead Mouse was a big one.
yeah. Man, I wish I had my phone on me for real because I'm blanking, but just it's there. I got it.
No, you can hear it. So let's talk about your current project, Drinking and Party. I seen the video out on YouTube. It's your most viewed video as of right now, at least on your page.
Yeah. I got another one that's got more views, but it was on somebody else's page.
Okay.
That page is actually new, so I re-uploaded everything. Because I was just uploading it on other people's pages, but I was like, I gotta like lock in on my page and build my stuff. So I re-uploaded everything.
When you said you were uploading on other people's pages, was it like other blogs or something like that?
Yeah. Like there was one blog I had uploaded on. It had like 5K views. Like it was doing decent. You know, I was like, okay. And then the whole page got deleted. I don't know what happened, but
was it Elevator or what was it?
Not Strapped.
Okay.
Strapped DNT.
You remember Elevator?
Yeah.
Are they still around or not?
I don't know, but
they're from Florida, right? Or no?
I'd be lying if I told. I'd be lying if I told you. But I remember watching the Elevator videos, like all the Hater Clan stuff, the Wiz stuff, the Currency videos used to be on there. Like everybody used to have like the Elevator, like. Yeah. So like,
you just reminded me. I forgot about that because I think their page got deleted or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Damn.
What was the other one? Citrus Rap was another blog page that used to be out there. I don't know what they're doing. I think I've seen them out there recently, but
yeah, I think
like
the platforms that were focused on just music video uploads dealt with that a lot, with the copyright and all that
Trail
stuff.
Funk was another one. Like they were up there. They used to upload like everybody's projects, you know.
Because I do that sparingly, but I'm more just interviews and like vlogs.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, because that shit, So that's dope though that I think there's pros and cons. Like it's good to upload on other platforms and get new views.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's also like you got to build your foundation too.
Exactly. So. Like now I'm kind of more willing because I've been building my page up more. Like, I might drop one here and then still drop one over there just because like I don't have a lot of subscribers. So it's like how can we just expand, like.
Do you think that's dead like that? Because I feel like that was the thing to do like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You think that's still cool or no?
I don't feel like that's the wave, but I feel like that's still something you got to do. Right? I feel like that's not the wave now. Like you talk to any label, they're gonna be like, you got to be on TikTok, you got to drop from this time to this time, you got to do this and that. Like I done been in the rooms and watched them tell other people that. So like really like they are more focused on the TikToks and the reels and stuff like that. But I feel like you never know, right? Like you never know where you're gonna get your buzz from, right? What works for one man is not gonna work for the next man.
There's no blueprint.
So it's like just try everything and see what works for you. Like while you know what I mean? Like who knows? It might go, it might not. But at least you tried it. Like
that's real. That's good advice.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, how did the single come together, and what's kind of been the push with that one? What about that record? Do you feel like you believe in and you love about that record, and like you're pushing that one?
I tell you what, I was watching. I don't know if you've seen it, the Pharrell movie, the Lego movie.
No, I haven't.
I remember one night we was at the studio. And we pulled it up. We were like, yo, like, let's just watch this, because, like, it was just cool. Pharrell, like, while he does the pop stuff, it's hip hop, what I mean? Like, it's still of the culture. So I was like, yeah, like, I want to watch it, you know what I mean? Like, and the Lego stuff, like, it just made it cool. Like, but, so I was watching that. And then, I ain't gonna lie, after that movie, I was like, I gotta make something tonight. Like, I'm not leaving the studio until I make a song. And then I made the beat. Right then and there. I made the song, like I made it all the same night. But then whenever I was showing people, everybody was like, yo, this one right here, like it just got a good vibe. Like, and a lot of times, like I call it headphone music. A lot of times I like making headphone music. Like, I don't want to say like I purposely strive to do that, but I catch myself like, a lot of what I like to listen to is not necessarily like some outside, some party stuff, you know what I mean? So like, that's mainly my vibe even when I make music. But that one felt like, it could be that,
What do you mean when you say headphone music?
Like, okay, like I got this song, right? Like, I'm sure you got some too. Like, I might not play it out loud for everybody, but I listen to it in my headphones.
Yeah, like it sounds better in your headphones type vibe.
More like it's a for you vibe. Like, are you gonna play it in front of your homeboys? Probably not.
I got a good one.
You know,
like Beyonce. Like I ain't gonna lie, I'll listen to some Beyonce like by myself. Like
you know
this one song down, I'm like, okay, this is.
I love Pink Panthers. You know,
right, yeah.
Like you know, but like necessarily like I'm not gonna make the homeboys listen to that.
Right.
Man, with me, you know? Like, I listen to that on my own time. So that's what I mean by like headphone music, like stuff that you would listen to, but you're not necessarily gonna play for everybody.
Or like some drill music. Like I'll really listen to some drill music, but then like I ain't gonna be in the car with my son blasting like some drill music. You know,
but like
that's right.
It just felt fun.
Yeah.
And like what I've been trying to do is like make more fun music. You know,
okay, yeah.
Nobody want to be all sad and stuff all the time. You know what I mean? Like nobody wants to be like, you know, like or like just so deep into thought or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I do like that stuff, but like there's time and a place. You know, time and a place for everything. But I would just felt like fun, just fun. Like let's just have fun. You know.
Okay. Do you feel like, and to kind of play devil's advocate a little bit, do you, with the party lifestyle, music, stuff like that, do you ever feel like, oh, you know, maybe I'm influencing certain things, or do you ever be feeling like maybe people might judge you, be like, oh, he's this way, or you know what I'm saying? Like, what are your thoughts about that?
Hey man, I mean, you gotta watch your own kids.
Fair enough.
I ain't like, you know, like I ain't never claimed to be a good influence. I ain't never claimed none of that. Like, you know, like I mean, you know,
just being you.
You know, like my parents let me listen to whatever. You know, like I listen to whatever. Like, and maybe that's why I was what I was. But hey, man, that's how you, man. If you know, like I feel like, you know, I don't know. I don't do it for no one. You know what I mean? Like I do it for me. Like I'm not trying to set an example for you. I'm not trying to just, you know, these are things I've done. These are just the life I've lived. And if you can relate, you can relate. But if not, that's fine. You know what I mean? I got other stuff you might can relate to. You know what I mean? Like, cause not everything is like my whole life. Like you might listen to some drinking and partying stuff, but then I might talk about like my hustle. You know what I mean? And, you know, like how I'm out here grinding. Like I work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I work the business. Like, you know, and it might not be 8 hours every day, but like 4 to 6 hours. Some days it's 12. You know what I mean? Some days it's 10. Some days it's 2. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. I'm just me. You know. So it's like, you know, I'm just giving you every side of me. You know, like I'm not here to tell you to do anything like me. So, you know, like this is just who I am. Like, but my music is a reflection of me. If you want to live like me, I don't know. That's up to you. But
that's real. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the biggest rappers when it comes to that type of music, or I guess gets criticized the most, is like Future, especially back in the day more so with the Dirty Sprite 2, stuff like that.
I mean, look, man, you can say the same thing about Wiz. Like how I said, man, like Wiz was my favorite. Like, right, I used to watch those day-to-days, like those videos. Like, you know, they're all just sitting there smoking down, doing the thing, like, you know, and I was already smoking at the time, but that shit made me be like, you know what, man, I might smoke every day of my life. But like, you know, so yeah, like you definitely got influence as an artist, whatever. But you know, I don't know. Yeah. That's just, you know, I'm not gonna blame Wiz. I'm not gonna be like Wiz made me a degenerate. It's like, man, that's on you, bro. Like you gotta be your own man. Like
I mean, yeah, because I listened to Future and like I experimented with some things, but I never like really got hooked on like anything. You know what I'm saying? But Future's my favorite artist. Like,
you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. And Future's, again, he's talking about his life.
Right.
He's not saying if you don't pop pills like me, you're whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, shit, you know, but, you know, he's talking about him and what he does. Like, that don't mean you got to go do it. Like, just be you.
Do you, like, ever worry about, like, that stuff or feel like, I don't know, it's a way of coping in a way or anything? Or
what,
you feel like it's just, I don't know, like, what is your, I guess, I mean, if you're open to talking about it, what is your, like, preferences when it comes to, like, partying and drugs and
well, look,
stuff like that?
I ain't gonna lie, like, sorry, man. I damn near done, like, I damn near done, like, you know, a lot.
Tried everything.
Yeah, except like the untouchables, like, you know, I never smoked meth, never did heroin. Like, you know what I mean? Never smoked meth, never did heroin, but like, you know, like damn near, like, you know, I don't pop the pill, I don't sip this and that, but like, I never let it run my life either. You know what I mean? Like, I've always been, you know, I've always been the type of kid where like I could, you know, I could do it. I'll put it down maybe in a few months if it comes around or whatever. You know what I mean? But like, it's not like I'm like actively looking. You know what I mean? It just happens.
Yeah, I don't get those vibes from you. I don't.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it just happens, and especially nowadays, I'm a lot more careful. Like, you know, like one thing I will say, like I might talk about what I talk about, but like, the pills and stuff are dangerous now. Like, you know, everything's fent, everything's this and that, you know, whatever. It's like, you don't even know what's real no more.
Right.
So nowadays, you know, I might fall back a little more. It's not as frequent. Like, I got to make sure, like, I think the last time I did it was like my homeboy, he had a grandma who passed and he had a bunch of pills. So we did, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, cause we know they're legit, like, you know, but like, you know, like we not like,
I respect that,
yeah, like, you know, I'm also not like a curious dude no more. Like,
I feel like when you're in high school or like first couple years after high school, you kind of get.
Yeah.
I was curious. I was trying shit.
I was, you know. But like, I smoke weed and I drink really. Like, you know, everything every now and again. If it finds me and is right, maybe like, you know, it just, you know, it all depends on my moment. But I'm not out here like actively like
fiending for it.
Yeah, like I ain't nobody. I'll tell you that. Like, I'm not out here looking for that. I'm nobody's custo. Like, don't ever call me your custo. Like,
I respect it.
You know.
What are your goals for 2025 as far as just like expanding your network and like traveling, collaboration, stuff like that?
Just building the fan base. You know, like that's what I'm trying to do right now. Just go to different places, meet new people, and build the fan base. You know, I have some people I can probably. I have some stuff that I would like to pitch. You know, I don't know how it's gonna work, but I know I need the numbers for it, and I know that's what I'm shooting
like
for.
Pitch to a label type thing.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I would love to make that pitch, but also, you know, if I could do it independent, I'll do it independent. You know, like I'm not so desperate where I'm like, oh, I need them, like, you know, because I also understand like when you're desperate, like you might get some shitty ass deal or whatever, you know.
Right.
So I'm not like I'm not desperate for it. Like I know I can do it myself, but you know, if it's right, you know what I mean. Like I would like to try to. But like really, let's just get the numbers and let's see what happens, and you know.
What would be your ideal deal? Ideal deal sounds crazy. you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not too sure. You know, I need something substantial though. I'll tell you that. You know, like only because like, and not to toot my own horn, but like all the genres I could do. You know, like, you know, if you don't want me for that genre as a label, that's fine. But I can write for it. I can make beats for it.
Very versatile.
You know, but I also come with a team, you know, and I need everybody on my team to be able to eat off my deal, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I have family, so it's like, I'm not just, you know, like, I don't know what the number looks like, but like, I know it ain't a small one.
Yeah. You have kids? You have kids or anything?
Nah. No kids, but, you know, a supportive family I got to do it for. You know?
No, that's real. That's real. What brought you to Denver for 420?
Hey man, you know, Denver, Cali, all that stuff is like, and you legit like those are like it's like the mecca for weed, damn near. Like,
for sure.
You know what I mean? Like it was always on my list to come here, regardless. Like if music or not, I always wanted to come to Denver. Like you know, also too, I feel like you guys get some of the best shows. Yeah. I'm not gonna front. Like as a kid, I love shows, so like even through high school, like I used to go to hella concerts, but like I was like, yo, we don't get nothing in Florida really. Yeah. Like, but Denver gets everyone's tour, and it's because it's just one of those places you got to be. Yeah. Like, I don't know why, but it's like it's a place you got to be. It seems like, and shit, I want to be here too.
That's dope. I think a lot of that has to do with Red Rocks because that's like the biggest. Not biggest,
it's
but
like a theater type vibe, right?
Yeah, it's like I think they were like one of the most gross sailed like venues in the world, or some most populated something like one of the best, pretty much. Venues.
Yeah, I think it's the Red Rocks, but it's also the culture out here.
Culture, yeah.
You know, it's a place that most artists can come. They know they're not going to get harassed for some small stuff. You know.
No, yeah, it's you have the hoods and stuff, but we're not known for that. It definitely is more known for like the tourist mountains and
You know what I mean?
stuff.
Yeah, like
Yeah, and shows do come here a lot. It's funny you say that though, because it's like from living here, like people will always be like, oh, because Kendrick isn't coming here, or like Drake's been dodging us, so people always be like, oh, why like hip hop isn't selling in Denver, blah blah blah. But then like it's cool to hear you say like, no, like this is a place to be.
Yeah, especially
because of shows and stuff.
You know, especially coming up, because what was that? The Smokers Club tour used to always come out here.
Yeah.
The 2050 tour. Like I'm just thinking of the things that I was like, yeah, we're gonna miss it because it's not coming. If they didn't come to Florida, like or whatever. Like or I actually think the Smokers Club did come a little later, like but not like the early ones. I don't think. I don't know. I could be wrong. You could. Correct me, but like I don't know. I just remember seeing like stuff, and I was like, "Yo, they always go to Denver. They never come to Florida." Like, so
it is one. I feel like for most main tours, people just in Denver be crying and shit about them. But, but for the most part, I agree with you. I think it is. But it's like we're a tourist city, but like no one out here has made it. So it's like
you feel like that when you're when you're in your own city. Like everybody's like, there ain't nothing to do in Fort Myers, this and that.
Right.
Yo, people everywhere around the world know Fort Myers.
Right.
Like, I was playing the game. I was playing Call of Duty when I was like a kid. Like this is before we was grown. Like this is like before the city was like on what it is now. Like this is like, bro. I do like, oh yeah, I go out there every summer for this and that. Like I'm playing on a game with some kid from Europe. Like. I feel like you always feel like that in your own city. Like you always feel like, oh, ain't nothing to do in my city. When in reality, there's probably not much to do anywhere. You just got to make the most out of where you're at. You know, like in New York, you don't really do much but walk around and look at the buildings, and you might go to a museum here and there or whatever. Like eat some good food, but like you just walking around and taking it in. Like that's what you do anywhere. Like so
when you definitely you came at the right time, because when it comes to like 420, like this is the most popping time for hip hop, like out here, or even just music in general. Like people be out here. Like hella rappers and shit. It'd be kind of crazy because like I'm not used to it. Like I'm used to it now, like years after years, but I'm not. It's like every other time of the year, like people ain't really here like that. Like you'll have your shows and stuff, but during this time period, it's like okay, everyone's here, or Cali,
definitely.
Or maybe Washington, just West Coast type shit. I feel like
for sure.
Okay, real quick. From an outsider's perspective, do you look at Denver as like what kind, from what region, because obviously Florida's like southeast. What do you look at Denver or Colorado?
Midwest.
Midwest. Okay.
I don't know. Hey man, I'm a dropout, so I don't really know my map. I don't really know my map.
Fair enough.
But it's crazy. I failed the map test in school.
You did? Okay.
I failed the map test, so
okay,
I can't really tell you for real. Like, but damn, I would probably say like Midwest. Like Chicago's not too far. That's the Midwest, right?
Yes.
Like
Midwest,
5 hours, 6 hours,
too far,
like Well, actually, I don't know, man. I must be tripping because we drove here. I feel like Kansas was like 6 hours, bro.
Yeah, no, it's a month. We're like 8 to 10 hours from like a bunch of major cities like Chicago, Dallas, Vegas. We're like right in the middle of like Phoenix.
Hey, y'all got like the West Coast vibes, but not totally.
Right,
like,
we're no ocean.
So that's why I say that.
If you look at a map, it is the Midwest, but like it's the middle of the West. But people in the Midwest, like Chicago, Detroit, they
don't consider it like
we're the West, but there's no coast. So I don't know. It's an identity crisis, really. But okay, that's besides the point. What about the elevation and the dry? Like, how did it feel coming out here, like being used to like a tropical climate and stuff like that?
Man, it's cool. It is cool. I like it. It's just different. I was really planning for like 40 to 60 degree weather, and y'all switched it up on this last.
Cool, not too
second.
cold.
Yeah. But like I will say, the best part about the drive is just seeing all the mountains and stuff.
Yeah, the mountains.
Like when you're on the way in, like you're going through some canyons or whatever, man. Wherever you're at, man. It's beautiful. I'm like, this is fire. Like.
I think it'll be warmer over the next 2 days, so definitely go to Lookout or go to Lookout. You'll love it. You might see some deer and shit. You'll love it.
As far as elevation, though, shit, I guess I'll see them all when I perform. I ain't really done nothing too
active.
Yeah, like too high energy to me and be like, damn, I'm out of breath up here. Like,
Okay.
So I guess we'll see tomorrow. So.
Okay. How do you feel about your streaming numbers and stuff like that? You feel pretty satisfied with that? You feel like you can do better? How you feeling about that?
Nah, man. I feel like I gotta do better. I gotta do better You know, the hardest thing is like getting people to translate. Like, how do you get this person to come from here to here? Right, like that I think is the hardest because people don't want to like click to leave the app, right? So it's like, how do you do that? Like, you might get like 200 likes or let's say like and a few hundred comments on your post, but then and everybody's like, yo, this is fire, this is it. Then you go to the streams and they got like a fraction of that, you know?
Right.
So it's like, is it? But it's like, I don't know. It's just getting people to translate, you know. But also I feel like that's why that's where it comes into place where you like get like new people. You know, because I feel like, you know, everybody there, they're from the city, they know me, whatever. So they're just not that interested to go listen like that, you know, and that's fine. Like, I get it. Like,
right.
But it's hard to listen to, you know, it's hard to listen to somebody that you like know for real. Like, I get it, you know, like that's why people always be like, you know, oh, in my city, I don't get no love, this and that. It's like, bro, because they know you, bro. They remember that one time you cried at church.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and they gonna criticize you too. For
you know. So it's like, bro, just go do something else, somewhere else. You know, I've seen amounts of like, it'd be the strangers that show me the most love.
Oh,
you know? So, you know, but like, you know, also like, I don't take that shit personal. Like, I get it. Like,
that's good. You don't take it personal because I feel like you got to learn that. You got to, because it's tough not to take it personal.
Yeah, but you got to take your feelings out of it, man. Like, especially with the music, like, because you're putting like you're putting yourself out there, like, you know, like you really are. Like, I'd be like, what is this? Like, you know, this is garbage, but it's just like this is not for them. Like,
right. I mean, it's my job to literally ask people's opinion about your music.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Thank God I've never heard garbage out of my music. Like, I've heard, you know, it's all right, it's cool. I've never heard garbage, you know, but that's good.
Do you want to talk about some of your performances? It looked like you performed on a tour with Key.
Yeah.
And the second Rollin Loud Festival.
Yeah, the second.
Like ever? Because it did start out in Florida, huh?
Yeah, it did.
How was the Rollin Loud Festival? That's interesting.
But Rollin Loud was cool, man. You know, I do low key regret doing it because I wasn't ready at the time. The music wasn't there, my sound wasn't there, my image wasn't there. Everything about like had no stage presence. You know what I mean? But it was good. Like.
Learning experience? It
was a good learning experience. Like now I can look at that and like low-key I kind of use that as like a motivation, you know? And like I was blessed enough to be a part of that because my homeboy Quest, Kid Quest, if you go look up the lineup from that year, he was on the Citrus stage. You know, we were talking about the Citrus rap, you know, it's another blog. That's how he got it was through them, you know? Exactly the same stage that X performed on that year, Smoke Ferb, like, it was like
when they were kind of rising up. That
like,
SoundCloud
if you go look it up, like it's actually like it's crazy what they had compared to what we had. You know what I mean? But like,
what do you mean when you say it?
Like as far as the reaction, the crowd, because like
it was the same stage though.
It was the same stage.
Yeah,
same stage, but they put us because it was like I kind of get it, like no, because like we're on like the really like indie stage at the time, right? So like no one's really going out their way to do it unless you're like buzzing like an X was at the time because X had just dropped that Look at Me, all that, you know, so like he was going up at that time. But they put us in front of like kind of like the food section, like it was like in front of like the food court. But there was people just sitting there eating the food, watching the show. Like I don't think we would have had people there if it was in front of, you know what I mean?
That was smart. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was lucky because my homeboy, he got on the lineup. He brought me out with him, you know what I mean? He let me do a song, you know, some solo stuff. It was cool. I was really lucky. I just wasn't ready, you know?
So have you been back to Rollin Loud a couple times, or was that the only time you ever went?
Oh, man, I used to go to Rollin Loud. I used to go to Rollin Loud all the time. I went to the first 3.
Yeah.
Right? Like I went to number 1 just to go as like a fan.
The first
2,
one? Okay.
Yeah. 2, I was going to go to regardless if I performed or not, just because I wanted to be there.
Yeah.
3, I went. I skipped like 4, 5, and 6. Or I skipped 4 and 5, then I think I went to 6. But I've been going to Roll Out forever, like, because I used to love shows and stuff, so that was like my thing, like.
What was like how has Rollin Loud changed over years? Because it's gotten a lot bigger, huh? Was it a lot smaller that first year? Like was it was intimate?
Bro, way smaller, bro. The first year was just in a warehouse. Like it was just in a warehouse in Wynwood. You know, I think they had 2 or 3 stages. I think it was 3 stages, right? But it was raining so hard. I remember when like we were getting poured on, and like, you know, at the time I was kind of like, you know, it was like a little goofy, but I was like, you know, I was like first in line. Like I was like one of them because like I really love like just the music. Like I love like every part of the music for real. You know, I was like first and last. So I remember like it was random, but they had like 3 stages still, right? But like nobody was who they were. Like I don't want to say nobody, because like except for there was Juicy J. I think Travis Scott performed that year, but he wasn't what he is now.
What was this, like 2014-ish, 2013?
Yeah, I don't even think Lil Uzi was on that lineup.
Yeah.
You know, I think that was prior to that. I think like Dash was on the lineup, Dash and Wretch.
Yeah, I remember Dash. Yeah.
I actually don't remember if Wretch was there. Oh, no, he was, because he sprayed the fire extinguisher in the crowd. I remember I was hot, bro. There was nowhere to breathe, bro. I couldn't breathe. I was like, and I was smoking a blunt. He put my blunt out. I was like, bro.
Oh, man.
But, yeah, like.
Pulling the fire extinguisher.
He sprayed the fire extinguisher in the crowd. I was crazy. He's like, that's the entertainment business. I was like, man, I'm dying.
Right.
But like Post Malone was on his White Iverson run at that time. Yeah. We had the Such Hollow Water Boys there that year, and they were like, you know, man, that shit was just
Chris
crazy.
Travis and all
Yeah. But like, man, like growing up with is now, because now they got some legends on there. You know, like now they get
mainstream,
all the mainstream stuff. They still do the underground stuff. I wish they did a little more like niche underground stuff, but they do it. So you know. And they get the classic legends, you know, which is cool. Like, you know, they had DMX that year, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's fine. Like,
do they still like offer, like, can you book a slot there anymore? Nah.
Not anymore. Nah, I think you got to get handpicked.
Right.
At the time, you know, we got on it because of the blog Citrus Rap.
Yeah.
So they had their own stage. It was called the Citrus Rap stage.
Oh. Okay.
So they pretty much picked who was going on from, you know, with their thing, and they had somebody that you got in contact with. I'm pretty sure we paid, you know what I mean? Like, it was like something like
blog,
that. Yeah. But, you know, it was just different.
Well, see, and then that's how it goes, too, because I remember there's a time you could pay to get a Say Cheese interview. Now you can't, you know.
You can't do that, you know what I mean?
So
like,
it's all about just like
as they build and they get more credibility or whatnot, you know.
Right.
So, you know, I respect it, you know. Like, I get it. Like, they're way bigger than what they ever were. Like, I would have thought I'd be on a Ferris wheel at Rolling Loud, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't that. It was just speakers. Like I don't even think they had like live bands there in the first year. I think the only person I saw with a live band that first year was Schoolboy Q. I think he did his set with a live band. But other than that, like, you know what I mean?
But they just had so much success that like they just started going. Because now they're doing it in LA, and I wish they would come to Denver. That shit would be crazy.
Well,
for like a 420.
Used to do the takeoff landing. I don't know. I think they did it like 1 year, and then they stopped.
If they came to Denver for like a 420 or maybe it was a little during the summer, it's a little warmer. So I think that shit would go crazy.
It would. It would be a big place.
I've never been. I've always wanted to go. I haven't went yet.
I need to go. Like you should, especially now. Especially now it's way different, but it's still cool. Like it's still mad cool. You know, last time I went there was with Stunner, because Stunner brought me.
Okay. Stunner.
He's Stunner.
Oh, okay.
Because he had a slot, you know, because like he's going, you know. So he brought me out there, and I got to hang out. He got me like a ticket. So like I was in the general admission, but it was cool. Like it was cool. Like,
do they kind of show a lot of love to Florida artists with the lineups there and stuff?
I think so. I feel like they always have, you know. Yeah, I feel like they always have, you know. And they have some legacy lineup people that's like always there, like Rob Banks, or like a Currency. Like I don't think I've seen a lineup where they're not on it. You know what I mean?
No, it gets pretty deep.
Yeah.
What about that era of the SoundCloud rap? Because I just remember when I was like a senior in high school. I graduated 2016, so right after like pretty much the same age. I remember like senior year of high school, like man, X, Made in Tokyo. Well, I guess let me stick to the Florida. Lil Pump, Smoke Purp was one of my favorite rappers at one time.
Yeah.
Like you know that Fat Nick, Puya, like you know that Florida wave that came out during that time period. What was that like for you coming from Florida, like seeing that?
Bro, it was nuts, bro. It really made you feel like you could do it, you know. I really liked the Raider Clan era, because that was like a little earlier than them boys. They kind of they paved the way for like the Lil Pumps and the XXX. Like,
see, I kind of missed that wave. Like I heard about it and got into it, but like that was.
Like I'm a strong believer that they wouldn't sound like what they sound like if it wasn't for that whole wave. You know what I mean? And Space Goes Perp, all that.
Space Goes Perp.
You know.
He's from Florida too.
Yeah, Florida, Miami, or Broward or something. I don't know. I might get it wrong, but I'm pretty sure Miami. You know, like they really set the tone for like a lot of those boys. You know, like even like Rocky, you know, all that purple stuff, the Texas, the Houston swag, the UGK stuff, like that, like obviously from UGK and stuff like that, but that was from the sound that, the Raider Clan boys was bringing in, but it really just made you feel like it was possible, like, we opened up for Ski Mask one year.
Oh yeah.
Me and my homeboy Quest, and it was before Ski Mask, like it was way before who he was now, was at some rinky dink bar, like the venue was trash, like, but like just moments, you know what I mean? Like
that was them though. It was like they blew up and then rest in peace X, like
of course.
But it was like, I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. It was just something about that energy, like the DIY, that's like, that's a big part of the reason why, like, we recorded ourselves and not gonna go spend money on the studio time. You know what I mean? Like, bro, like these boys are pulling M's. They're getting millions of views, getting hundreds of thousands of views by themselves.
Their own stuff. Yeah.
Recorded at home, recorded in someone's fucking closet, like whatever it is, like, like you don't need the machine. Like the machine helps, but like, if you hustle and you grind, like you do it without, like.
So given that you and the homies were performing at, the early Rolling Louds and some of these, like, for lack of better terms, hole in the wall spots and stuff, like, did you get a chance to like meet X or any of them or talk to them at all or like mingle with them?
I met Lil Tracy, I met Fat Nick.
He's about to be out here, Lil Tracy too.
Okay, yeah. Met him, I met Rob Banks. Most of the people we were on the lineups with, I made it a point to go out my way to meet. I met Nell from Raider Clan. It's funny because I actually started recording him for a bit. That was like a crazy moment. It was same with Rob Banks. Like I don't know if you know that song by Mac Miller, where he's like, "How you know you made it when you with Killer Cam watching Paid in Full."
Maybe if I heard it, I can't think of it.
Yeah. I think it's 1 through 8, whatever. I think that's the name of the song for anybody out there off the Macadelic project. But I feel like I had a moment like that, like, you know what I mean? Where like I was at Rob Banks' crib, his 430 house. He had the home studio there, and I was there. I got picked up to just record. I got lucky. You know what I mean? Like they put out a post on Instagram, "Yo, who's available?" I was like, "Me, like I can do it." You know what I mean? But I'm just sitting there. They're like watching all the videos that I used to watch at the crib. Like, I'm like watching those videos with them.
Yeah.
Like I'm like watching it with them, and like I don't know. I was just like, damn, this is cool. Like this is like people I've really met. Like, But also, with the studio, I've met a lot of people. I don't really get like starstruck and nothing like that. Like,
I feel that once you get around enough people, you kind of. At first, I don't know. I've gotten starstruck, but then you get used to it.
Yeah. We weren't allowed to. Like, if we were, we had to hide it in. Like, because studio is a safe place for artists.
Right.
No artist wants to come to a studio and have the assistant engineer like, "Oh my God, I love you, bro." Like, right? Nobody wants that. You know what I mean? So like, even if you are a fan, you gotta hold it in. Like,
that's funny because I've had a couple of moments. Like when I first started Mile High Minute, I met. We had I interviewed Stick Baby, who was Lil Keed's brother, but they were on tour with Gunna, so they brought the tour bus through the studio with at the time it was Lil Duke, which him and Young Thug were like this. Yeah. And we're big Young Thug fans, so we're sitting there. I'm like, he's coming in the studio, I'm like recording it, like acting like a fanboy, I ain't gonna lie. He was like, "Bro, turn that shit." Like, turn the camera. He's like, "I'm trying to come to the studio. Y'all acting like." But I learned right then. I learned.
Of course.
You know,
and you don't know unless someone tells you.
Right. You get.
Like, and when you get the job, they're like, "No, you can't do this. You can't do that." So like, it's really drilled into you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, and half the time too, when you're first starting, then I don't even let you there. Right. Like, I don't even let you be there for that unless it's like
they trust you.
Yeah. So.
It's funny too, recipes Young Scooter. I met Young Scooter at a Future show, and he's one of my favorite artists just because I grew up on Future, and Scooter was, they made a lot of music together, and like I ran into him.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna lie, that was probably like, I kind of fanned out a little bit. I was trying to get a picture. He was like, it was loud. He wasn't even really hearing me.
I feel that.
But
I got some. I don't know if I'm gonna name drop him, but when I meet him, I don't care if I fan out. I'm gonna fan out.
It's kind of hard when you like.
Yeah. But like, I'm gonna let him know. Like, I'm gonna do it in like a respectful way. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna figure it out. But like, I got some people that like I gotta let know. Like, bro.
Yeah.
Your shit made like.
Right. Well, it's like,
you know me like.
And what's different too is like when you meet. Okay, you could meet a famous artist, but it's different when you meet a famous artist that you actually listened to growing up. Like, you know, like.
Yeah. It's dangerous though, because you might not like them no more, you know?
Oh, man.
You know, like, we done had some people at the studio, you know, and this I'm definitely not name dropping. I don't care if you put it in there, but, to not name drop, but they were less than pleasant, you know?
Yeah, I feel that.
And it was just like, dude, I can imagine being in your position and being like this, like.
Right.
I don't get how you get like that, but maybe that's just years of being jaded or whatever, you know? I don't know, but. I can imagine it.
There was this Atlanta rapper that I was really a fan of. I listened to a lot. He's underground, and then I met him and we were working with him, and he was like, we were at the studio all weekend, and then I went to his after party after his show, and he was like, "Who are you?" Like, type shit. I was like, I deleted all his music after that. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah. I got some people that's just not the same no more. Yeah, it's just not the same, you know. It's like, damn.
Okay.
You're a horror story.
Right. What was, I know there was a bunch of rappers that came out of Florida, but what was special about X? Because I feel like he was kind of the biggest one, or like had the most influence and impact.
Honestly, bro, being honest, RP, bro, but I never really listened to bro like that.
Okay.
You know, I was never a huge fan. I always respected what he did, like, but I never like wanted to bump it on my own, if that made sense. You know what I mean? But I was never like, it was never like, him or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just I just never got into it like that. But some of the people around him, I did. So that's where the trickle down would come in. I'm like, nah, it's cool. You know what I mean? Whatever. Like, but you know, honestly, it was about the kids, bro. The kids love X, bro. Like, I don't know exactly what it is. Like, just, you know, when you got that star power. You know, like almost like an Eazy-E, like, you know, and like I'm not comparing the two. I'm not saying they're like each other, but like as far as star power, like I remember one day, this was like long after X had passed. Like I was going to the hospital to visit somebody, and I get in the elevator, and this little ass kid's watching this like X video. His mom was like, "Yo, he dead. Put that shit down. Like, anyone want to hear that no more." Yeah. But like just the whole that he had on the kids, like, I don't know what it was, like, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think it was just, you know, I think it's like, you know, it's like I said, it's just showing that you could really do it by yourself. Like, that was the main thing about the whole wave, is like, the boys didn't need much. Like, they made it happen, and they, you know, they were just doing it. Like, it was different. Like,
I was gonna ask you, what's your ethnicity?
Yeah, I'm Ecuadorian. I'm 100% Ecuadorian. 100%. I was born in New Jersey, but I'm Ecuadorian, yeah.
That's dope. So that's like South America, right?
Yeah, South America, right on the equator. I ain't never been. You know, I don't even speak Spanish. Like,
so were your parents originally from there, or did your grandparents maybe, or?
No, yeah, both my parents are from Ecuador. They came out here as kids, like, came out here as kids. But you know, they're here legally. They're here legally.
Legally. Well, okay.
Why do you gotta say that shit, bro?
I feel bad. He waiting out there. I feel bad.
You know, but
I feel bad. Yeah. It's different. Huh? See, this ain't even that bad. I don't even go like, it gets cold, bro. It gets like 0 degrees negative. But I feel you. All right. So the Ecuadorian.
Yeah.
Did you see about like the Venezuelan shit that was going on in Aurora?
Nah, honestly, man, you know, I'm really bad at paying attention to like news and.
That's probably a good thing.
You know, I feel like as an artist, you know, and as someone with a limited education, probably shouldn't comment on that. Just, you know what I mean?
I respect it. I respect
you know what I mean?
It was just curious because it was like.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, bro, you dumb as hell. You don't know what you're talking about, and they're gonna be right.
Hey,
Hey, at least
You know, so,
you keeping it real. Okay.
yeah. You know,
That's dope though. Your parents came over here and shit.
yeah.
Do they like it here?
Oh yeah. They've been out here since they was kids, so all they know is
Fair
you know what I
enough.
mean. Like, all they know is America too. So
Have you looked into I'm sure you've probably looked into Ecuadorian like culture or stuff.
yeah. They still make like a lot of the traditional dishes and whatnot, and but I'm very Americanized. Like, soy gringo, like, like,
I feel you.
I'm very Americanized. Which I'm blessed to be. You know what I mean? Like,
That's real.
Like whatever it is. But like, I'm in tune with my culture. Like, I love my people. Like, I really do. Like, I love my people. But like, I don't speak Spanish. Like, I've never been out the country. Like, there's a lot I can still learn. There's a lot I can learn about my people. For sure.
Is it true that the women out there are like tens, like and like all diverse and bad and shit, like people say?
Here's what I'm
with
saying, man.
big asses and shit.
When my cousins used to come visit me, they were like, I love the girls out there. The girls are bad. They're badder than over here. But when I go to where they at, I'm like, I like the girls over here. I feel like when you in your city, like, you don't realize what you got. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or you be in your city like, oh, these girls ain't hitting on nothing. But then you hear other people, they're like, right, they got them over there. Fort Myers, like,
Right.
I don't know. Nah, this is just on your personal preference.
Right.
But I do think we got baddies in Florida. You know what it is, especially in Miami. There's like it's just like a culture to stay fit over there. Like
the weather and stuff.
Yeah, like I'm a big dude, but like like over there, like they're working out, they're running on the streets. You know what I mean? There's just it's that Miami Beach lifestyle. All that type of stuff.
Right.
So I feel like maybe over there you might see some like more baddish type stuff than when you would in Fort Myers, but I don't know. It's also the money, man. Money can make you look good. Like,
Right.
like if you look at anybody before they blew up, they was probably like a little busted. Like maybe not totally busted,
Nah,
but like a little busted.
like
then after they get some
Glorilla,
money,
shout
they
out
start,
Glorilla,
like,
but
you know what I mean? So.
Man, Glorilla, man, she had to glow up, man. I ain't gonna lie, man.
And Glorilla.
Yeah. Okay.
She the shoot, Glorilla the shot.
I'm gonna ask a couple little pick ones. 2012 Miami LeBron or 98 Jordan?
Ooh, wait, one more time.
2012 Miami LeBron or 96 Jordan or 98 Jordan?
Look, I'm gonna just say LeBron for the reason that I experienced it.
Okay.
I know what it was like firsthand. My pop's a Jordan fan, so my pop's probably gonna strangle me by hearing this, but like, my pop's a diehard Jordan fan. Like, like he's a diehard Jordan fan, but like, I just didn't experience it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's hard to comment like, oh, this man was the greatest when you wasn't there to experience their impact. Like you might hear the legend, you might hear the lore of what they were, but to be there and see it,
It's different.
It's just different. So that's why I'm gonna say that, just for that. But
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Was that dope though over that 4-year run when he was in Miami going crazy?
It was cool. At the time, I ain't gonna lie, I was really fucking with like Derrick Rose.
Oh, the Bulls. Okay.
The Bulls around that time.
They were good. Yeah.
Yeah, I was my team at the time. That and Lakers. I always liked the Lakers.
I'm a Lakers fan. My Nuggets fans, they hate me. I don't mind the Nuggets too, but like I grew up on Kobe and shit. So
You know what I mean? Yeah. To me, Kobe's my go. Yeah.
Same here.
Like,
yeah.
If you ask me about anybody, I would say Kobe. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Like I remember there was an NBA Live game. Which one was it? Oh, was it 2011? It was when Magic and the Lakers went to the.
Oh yeah, that was 20. Yeah, it was 2011. Yeah.
2011
Or 2009.
2009. Okay, yeah. So I was like, it was either 09 or
Yeah, because in 2010 Lakers played the Celtics in the finals.
Yeah.
But
You're
Orlando.
right. But that year, I remember I love that NBA Live specifically. I used to always pick the Lakers. I used to always go in this one spot. It was like a glitch. It was like a glitch. It was like
a glitch. Yeah.
Kobe never missed from this one spot on the court. I used to always do that, and I used to put my cousin. He'd be like, "Bro, you can't pick them no more." Oh man, so yeah.
Okay.
That's what I would have said.
Is Dan Marino? I'm going back. It's a little old, but is Dan Marino? Where do you rank him out of like the top QBs? Even though he didn't win a Super Bowl.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not a Miami fan.
Okay.
a Miami Heat fan. I became after I moved to Miami. Like after I moved to Miami, I was like, I'm a Miami Heat fan. Like,
Okay.
you know, prior to that, I like the Nets.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because you know I'm from Jersey, so it's like it was like you know when you were a kid, it's like your favorite team is probably like your pop's favorite team or you know, whoever's around.
My
you.
dad was a Lakers fan.
You know what I mean? So he was a Nets fan. And you know, it was the New Jersey Nets.
They were nice too back in the day. With
We had Jason Kidd. I had an autographed Jason Kidd jersey. My grandma watched
Richard
it.
Jefferson. Kenyon Martin, I think at one point.
Marbury.
Oh yeah.
But you know, so at the time we were
Vince Carter.
The New Jersey Nets. So that's why I was like that. But then after they left, you know, with the Brooklyn, I was like, I don't like the Nets no more.
Okay, fair enough.
That and then football, I'm a Jets fan.
Okay, Jets. That's tough.
Yeah.
Over the Giants?
Yeah, I'm a Giants.
I don't
Jets
like.
all day.
I'm a Cowboys fan.
Again, but that's probably just because my pops, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Shout out my pops.
Okay, so Heat or Magic? You kind of answered
Heat.
it. Yeah.
Heat.
Okay.
Orlando's cool. I ain't gonna lie. If we when I was in high school, the snapbacks were like everything.
Right,
you know.
right.
I used to like the Magic snapbacks.
No,
But
yeah,
I
they
don't-
were
but,
cool.
like if I had to pick, I'm gonna Heat. Like.
But will you still cheer for like other Florida teams too, though?
Yeah. Like if they're not playing nobody from Florida, I'm always going Florida. Like,
Okay.
or you know, like if it's like my up north influence, like
Yeah, a New York team. Or something.
yeah.
Jaguars, Dolphins, or Buccaneers?
Dolphins, I have to say.
Okay.
I'm gonna lean towards Miami just because I live there, but
What about like baseball or hockey? Did you like Marlins, Rays, Lightning, Panthers?
I don't really know too much. You know, I used to live by the Marlins Stadium when I lived in Miami, but that's about it. That's about the furthest. Like,
Okay.
I don't really know baseball. Like, baseball was fun to play with the homeboys, but I'm not watching baseball.
Okay. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you for coming on the show. You got any final thoughts?
Yes, sir,
Last
man.
minute thing, shout outs.
Nah, bro, just just cooling. You
Go
know?
stream the music.
Excited to be here. Go stream the music, after party on all platforms. The videos out. It's out on Apple Music, all that. You know, I got hella content coming. I got mad singles. Like, I'm just go crazy with it. You know, so stay tuned. You know,
Where can people find you on like Instagram and X and all that?
Instagram OGBaby97, Twitter OGBaby_DLC, and TikTok is OGBaby97 as well.
Okay.
So.
Make sure y'all go follow OG Baby on everything. Instagram, Twitter,
Follow
Facebook,
that.
YouTube. Hit that like button. Comment down below your favorite part of this interview. Hit that subscribe, hit that bell button to stay notified when all latest news drops. Can I get a shout out for Mile High Minute one time?
Yes, sir. Shout out my High Minute for having me. OG Baby in the place, you know, this is the only place I'm gonna come to, like my High Minute.
Yes, sir. Colorado, Florida, man. We appreciate you. Mile High Minute, #1 blog in the universe. We out.